5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
How about we do it again?
6, 7, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think I fallen.
Okay, let's try one more
I
time.
definitely.
Ready?
I can move you. Making review. Making review.
Say 6,
6,
5,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Greetings and welcome to the 256th episode of Rank and Review. I'm your host and random Canadian, Larry Parsons, and keeping on with a theme going on this season apparently, it's not a very horror-related episode this week. We're doing family fantasy. There may be some witches in this brew, there may be some aliens in this brew, but I think you'll find it a pretty cozy, cuddly bunch of movies. To help add energy to this guest, Raylee Perkens is going to help me discuss family fantasy movies, and in this bunch is included a particular favorite of her daughter's. So, it's maybe not your typical rank and review subject matter, but I think it will be tackled with your typical rank and review enthusiasm. Check out the website at ranknreview.ca. Send your feedback to ranknreview@gmail.com. That's ranknreview@gmail.com. Do listen to the Shelf Shedding Movie Show. Consider lending your ear to a Lifetime of Hallmark podcast. And please proceed with the understanding that there may be some spoilers for the 6 movies being reviewed, as well as possible coarse language, most especially from me. Thank you for your ears. Now let's talk fantasy.
Summer, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get through this list. We're gonna get it done. And
I never want rank and review to be a source of stress, ever.
no, it wasn't that. But I was actually really excited for this list, and then just that one movie hung me up.
Right.
And then my brain kept being like, I gotta find that movie, and then I'd look and get nowhere, and then forget about it for 3 weeks, and be like, oh right, shit, I gotta find that movie.
It's been weirdly sort of family-friendly movie for me the last little while. I did an animation episode with my movie club. I did a Muppet episode with my buddy Scott. And now I'm doing family fantasy with Raylee.
Yeah, it's quite the detour for me, this list. Very different.
But that's kind of what I like about it. And it still has the sort of fantastical horror, fantasy, sci-fi elements, which I enjoy. But none of the movies here want to hurt our feelings. All these movies seem to be mainly interested in entertainment and not interested in rattling us. So.
And honestly, little bit schmaltzy, but I mean, Ghostbusters, I feel is a weird one on this list because it's so new,
right,
comparatively to the other ones. But they kind of all hold up pretty well. I thought anyway. I was expecting them to be special effect wise a lot worse than they were.
Right. No, the practical physical effects look good. Some of the green screen effects or the matting effects, they don't fool us, but honestly, a lot of the CGI doesn't fool me. That's
what I mean.
You're invested in the story that the movie's telling, or you're not. And I think that's what's going to age your movie as much as anything else. I think part of the reason that I have the new Ghostbusters, or one of the new Ghostbusters on this list, is, it's a modern film, but it is so informed by the vibe of these other movies that we're talking about that I think it wants to be a classic Amblin, Spielberg, too dark for kids, but kids movie, you know what I mean?
Totally. I went to the Invisible Man that just came out in theater with that girl who's in everything right now.
Yeah, that girl. I know who you're talking about. The Handmaid's Tale girl.
The Mad Men.
Sorry, say again?
Mad Men.
Yeah, Mad Men, yeah.
That girl. And I think I, like, legitimately would look like this in, like, the entire... it did not agree with me.
Well, and Memoirs is not like that. Memoirs is much more of a bouncy adventure, sort of almost a noir story, right?
Yeah.
So when...
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it because I have some things I want to say. So
Bring
I
it.
don't want to say it yet.
All right. I gave you options for what you wanted to do, and you chose the sort of family fantasy list. I know you said that maybe Hocus Pocus, was one of your girls' favorites?
Yeah, we watch it it's like on repeat for Halloween around here.
So was that what made you choose the list, or was it just you wanted something to cleanse your palate after that nasty, bad movie list? You just didn't want another Twice Dead in your life.
I think so that, like, Hocus and Addams Family are, like, our kind of, like, Halloween tradition movies.
Right.
Like, we watch them every year. But the other ones I, like, really hadn't revisited since they were released and I was quite young. And there's no reason to, there's not, like, Parker doesn't want to watch these movies. I even tried to get them to watch, like, Cocoon and Batteries with me, and I showed them the trailer, and they're like,
no. They're lost. They're lost.
I wanted, like, an opportunity to just kind of, like, because I remember really liking these movies as a kid. And, like, yeah, so I just wanted to, like, revisit them, I think, and just see why I liked them as a kid. And I was not disappointed. I enjoyed them as an adult more than I thought.
Yeah, well, I was largely not disappointed either, girl. In one case, I was kind of, I don't want to say devastated, but one of these movies hit me pretty hard, actually. It's strange.
Batteries?
No, actually, Cocoon, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But I have memories of seeing these at a young age and just being blown away by them. Just like, kind of being, even though I knew on some level Batteries Not Included wasn't an amazing movie, those little robots were just amazing to me, and I could watch it over and over again. And I don't know, I connected to the fact that 80s kids movies really genuinely do have this darkness to them that it seems has disappeared from kids' movies. Whether that's for good or ill, we can have that conversation, but I always looked past the darkness and saw the wonder. It's only when I'm, like, almost 50 watching the movies again, saying, like, man, Alzheimer's, eviction, like, all of these devastating themes in the middle of this quote-unquote charming, friendly family kids movie. Like...
Yeah.
It's
a lot going on.
I'm surprised at how much I liked revisiting them. I thought a little bit would be like me sort of shrugging them off, being like, yeah, if you like this type of movie, it'll be fun. Or if you grew up with this, it'll be fun. But I'm still giving largely thumbs-up reviews across the board this episode. Like, there's a lot of love here.
There were no stickers.
Yeah.
There were no stickers. And I thought that Memoirs would be.
Right.
And it was not.
Right.
So that was a nice surprise at the end, to not, like, be, like, let down.
Yeah. Lovely.
When I very much expected to be let down.
Well, I mean, I probably had your shields up after, the bad episode that I just subjected you to. You were worried another, like, Lost in the Pacific or Twice Dead might put you right off the podcast. So,
and then I agreed to Cocaine Bear. But then,
yes.
Did you hear that they have found cocaine sharks in the wild? And I'm like, dude, we should write that. We should write that movie.
I'm pretty sure Cocaine Shark has been made. I think that there is such a film. But I believe someone made Cocaine Shark, where there's a bunch of these, like, junky animal movies now in the wake, of course, of Cocaine Bear.
Okay, I haven't heard it yet.
But I did notice that somebody made a movie just for you. Have you heard of Slaughterhouse?
No, but I am Googling it right now.
I saw it and I thought, how nice of them to make a movie for Raylee.
That only Raylee will watch.
I believe it's like a college dorm or something has a sloth as their mascot. And I don't know. I guess things go sideways.
This looks fantastic. Oh, I'm definitely going to be trying to figure out how to watch this after we... And then the first question on Google, is this a real film?
Yes. Unfortunately, we're not here today to talk about Slaughterhouse. Is there anything you'd like to say by way of introduction before I list off these movies and we get started?
No, we can just get going. We're good.
Raylee Perkens, there's so much love in this room right now, I wish you could feel it. All right. The Addams Family. The first one. I've already actually reviewed Addams Family Values on this show, so this is a little bit of cleanup for me. Ghostbusters Afterlife, we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Ron Howard's Cocoon. We're going to talk about Batteries Not Included. I think that might be the one that is the most forgotten of this list in a weird way. It seems to have sort of slipped through the cracks of the culture somehow. John Carpenter's Memoirs of an Invisible Man, starring everybody's favorite celebrity, Chevy Chase. And we'll finish with one of Rayleigh's favorites, maybe? Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, I would say.
Okay.
I really like it.
I'm putting words in your mouth and I'm dropping stacks of DVDs. Let's do it.
Aha! Showtime! It's a miserable night.
I know, darling. Children, put down that antenna.
Uncle Fester, may I have the salt?
What do we say?
Now.
Unhappy, darling.
Oh, yes. Yes, completely.
There's lots to learn. Look, children.
Children, what are you doing?
I'm going to electrocute him.
I said no.
Please?
Oh, all right. Don't torture yourself, Gomez. That's my job.
So Barry Sonnenfeld had been being a director photographer all over the place, but mainly working for these obscure directors, the Coen brothers.
Oh, right? I've never heard of them.
Oh, you should look into their work. I think you might appreciate it.
I think I would enjoy them.
But as good as that gig must have been, he wanted to make his own movies. And this is a big sort of splashy Hollywood, look at me movie. And as much as it's his first directorial effort, like he's been on a lot of movie sets. You know, he's a deft hand, and that's pretty obvious right away. No. But on top of it being an amazing looking film, especially considering, I want to say 1992 this came out, or somewhere in that area, it's a sort of special effects extravaganza, which is not necessarily where you want to start your career. It's 1991. I hate myself. I'm terribly sorry. Son of a bitch. A lot of positives right out the gate. I mean, I don't know who they could have done better to cast than Raul Julia and Angelica Houston. Like, in my head, I don't know how it works if they cast anyone else in either role. Like, I don't know the alternative. There probably is, but I can't summon it in my brain.
Have you watched the new Wednesday series?
I have not. I have resisted the new Wednesday series.
Yeah, so Catherine Zeta-Jones plays her, and it's very challenging. Yeah. And she does a fantastic job in the role. Like, it's not a criticism of her, but it was very challenging to not have it be her in the role. No,
and it is exactly what you would expect it to be, except for significantly better, I think I'm going to say. It is a one-joke premise, right? They're this ghoulish family that is the opposite of what is supposed to be the, American ideal. That little cartoon strip you used to read in the paper, The Family Circus, this is the flip side of that coin. So they enjoy unpleasant things, and they are sort of off-put by Christmas carolers, and they're off-put by... the niceties and politeness of modern society. They're They're outsiders, but they're not pouting about it. In fact, they love it. They love it.
They're fully a part of their community, too. Like, they aren't outsiders. They go to, like, staff functions and school functions and community functions.
No,
like,
but
everybody just...
They do look apart from everybody else. They're very obviously the different people, and they're okay with it. They're not trying to acquiesce in any way to the others. They are going to be who they are. Also, and this is a weird thing to put in, because it is essentially a family comedy in a lot of ways, I kind of appreciate how down to fuck Gomez and Morticia are. Like,
they are madly in love. Yes.
They are into each other in a way that's kind of charming. Like,
I think it's really sweet, honestly.
Like, a lot of times...
I don't remember the original TV series. I used to watch it, like, after school. It would come on at, like, 4 or 4:30 or whatever. And I don't remember that being so present in the TV. It was, and I just don't remember. But
I think Morticia was always sort of a vampy sexual figure. But they got Angelica Houston, and then, you know, like, they kicked it up several notches. But the joke in these types of movies, usually when they have two kids school age, is that they're just so exhausted and so into the routine that there's barely any love left in the marriage, or there's certainly no spice left in the marriage. Like, that's usually a punchline in a lot of these movies. And not to belabor the point, I kind of liked how into each other they were.
I lost the romance.
The casting is perfect, and I think it is, like I say, the one joke thing. There is a story going on about Raul Julia wants to reconnect with his long-lost brother, played by Christopher Lloyd. They'd had a falling out, and he's been trying to contact him through supernatural means forever, and this corrupt group, including his lawyer, are going to try and bring this Gomez, or his brother with amnesia, into the house so they can try and get their hands on the Addams family fortune. That is the...
He doesn't know he's the brother.
Yeah, he's forgotten. This is the amnesiac, sort of classic old school. And you can get away with it because it's like a ridiculous comedy, over-the-top world. But I really think this story is a distant, maybe third or fourth, to all the visual gags, visual energy, and the characterizations of the cast. Which is the reason to watch the movie. Which is why I would encourage you to watch the movie. 2 big thumbs up over here. It's aged really well, actually. I was worried that, like, I was going to watch it again and be, oh no. But I had a lot of fun with it.
No, I really liked, for me, all of the interactions between the siblings of her trying to, like, name him and him just, like, going along with it. Like, it's that gag again, right? Like, it's set up like, oh, you're torturing your brother, but he's just, like, all in and
yeah.
It's just fantastic. And, like, every time I just get such a kick out of, like, the way those two, like, interact with one another in the household. I thought it was really funny. I thought those two kids were, I mean, fantastic in their own right. They just really held their own against some pretty big actors, and they were kids. Like, they were young.
Christina Ricci, this is sort of how I knew her. I mean, I know she did a lot of child acting, but it's sort of because of these movies that in her sort of grown-up adult, you know, Black Snake Moan, Afterlife movies where she's really trying to sexualize herself, I find it hard to take. I always think of Little Wednesday Addams, and it kind of kills it for me.
Well, there was this one, and then there was Casper. I'm just looking to see when Casper came out.
That would have been after this, yeah.
But those two kind of, like, cemented her as that sort of, like, goth, sort of, like, weird, creepy goth girl, you know?
And she's to the task. She absolutely does a good job in the movie, for sure, for a young actress, absolutely.
Casper was 95, so, like, 4 years after that.
Yeah. And I do still like her as an actress. I have a similar thing with Drew Barrymore. I saw Drew Barrymore in E.T. and Firestarter as a kid. So when I see her in these super sexualized roles, I feel like I'm looking at my niece or something. It just doesn't seem like...
It's not appropriate. Winona Ryder, I think, would probably also fall into that a little bit.
But she doesn't tend to do those types of sexual roles. She's more of a... what have I missed? Tell me what I've missed, Raylee.
Dracula.
Okay.
I can't even say that with a straight face.
Well, there's
But
some
anyway.
sexuality in that movie, but I don't know if it's all coming from Winona. But we're getting distracted. The Addams Family. What did Raylee feel about the Addams Family?
I just really liked all of the, like, I didn't love, not that I didn't like the story, like he said with the estranged brother and all of the things. I just really liked all of the, like, little bits and pieces that just fell into place. Like, just, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, there was so much attention to detail, and there's just all of these little gags. Like, just these little tiny moments or little tiny interactions that were, like, not the point, but just made the movie.
Yeah.
I really, like, if I could just talk about my favorite two pieces of the part, were when they go to the school play, and they're just, like the
Geysers
the
of blood.
splattering all over the audience, like, gushes out of their jugulars. And then...
And they're so proud of their kids. They have tears in their eyes. They're just like, oh, you guys are amazing.
Yay, bravo! And then also when they go to meet the... And again, I'm a teacher, so, like, I've been on the receiving end of the meet the teacher night when you have to talk to parents about their weird kids.
Right.
And, like, when they're, like, talking, she's like, oh, isn't it lovely? Because she did a project on her family history of the witches, and it's really, really gruesome. And the teacher's very concerned, and she just thinks it's, like, the most, she's just so proud of her daughter, like, getting in touch with her witch roots, you know? And I'm just like, oh, man. It was so good. Like, those two moments where every time they just make the movie.
Yeah. I think that the writers noticed that, because in the second movie, the kids spend a lot more time outside of the house. They're sent to, like, summer camp, and we get that. And I think it's so we can see the reactions of the public. Because one thing that the Addams Family never does in this movie is laugh at their own jokes. Like, no matter what absurd things happen, like, they take it right on the chin. And that makes it funnier to me. It's one of those things, like, if the first 5 minutes of the movie goes by and you haven't had a laugh, it's going to be a hard 90 minutes for you. But at the time, the disembodied hand was a pretty dazzling new special effects. This is before Jurassic Park, right? So, like,
yeah,
we are still very early CGI. So this little disembodied hand that jumps up on people's shoulders and runs across the floor and has a lot of business in the background. It obviously doesn't speak, so was kind of wow. And they don't look wow now, but you can sort of feel the attention that is put on thing, like the...
I didn't think it. I think it holds up though. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't ever, like, taken out of the movie by the, like, fakeness of it.
Of course,
anything,
no.
You know, like, it never distracted.
No.
The effects in this movie never distracted me from remembering I was watching a movie. Like, at no point was I like, ugh, right? Like, I don't know. To me,
But I think that sort of weak performer thing to kind of look for the laugh or kind of go, could have been the thing that undid this movie. Like, when his lawyer first comes to visit him, they have to have a sword fight before they get down to business, because that's just what happens. And you can tell that Dan Hedaya is playing it. Like, he just as soon not have this sword fight, but this is the price of doing business with the Addams Family. And they're incredibly wealthy.
Like, he's down on his luck, right? Like, he's down to his last client.
Yeah. He's down to his last client. Sorry, you glitched just a little bit there, girl.
I said he's down to his last client, so, like, he's got to do the sword fight. He's, like, down on his luck, you know?
That's right. But, again, if he was acknowledging the ridiculousness of it, or if Raul Julia or Hedaya looked at the camera at any point, I don't think it would be the same thing.
Yeah, they just all play it so deadpan. Like, there's never a moment when they are not committed to the character that they are playing. And, like even at the end when it's, like, the Addams Family reunion, like, and just all of the weird characters are coming out, like, everyone is just in it. They're just having a good time, but they're just, like, 100, like, all of them. They're just, like, completely committed to that character that's been created, and I think that's rare in a kind of silly movie. I think sometimes people are like, oh, I'll just for the paycheck or whatever, right? Like, I didn't find that with any of that.
I also like that it's just okay being a silly movie. Like I say, it does sort of have a story, but that's not what the movie's about. It's about being silly and fun, and you know what? That is enough sometimes. Put a smile on my face and keep it there. Thank you.
Like the secret chamber to go down into the vault and like all of that stuff. Like I said, we watch this. This is one of our movies we'll watch in October every year as like our countdown to Halloween. Halloween's a big deal for both my kid and I, and so we kind of have these like traditions. Like some people have like Christmas movie traditions. We have that for Halloween, and like Addams Family is definitely on the roster. Like every year, I enjoy the movie, and I'm not like, you gotta watch this movie again.
And you're only a month away, and you'll probably find it okay to watch again. It goes down real easy.
Yeah, no, and I don't know the second one as well. It's never kind of made it into like. We have watched it, but it's never made it into like consistent rotation. It just doesn't have quite the same.
No, it's a decent sequel. It's a decent sequel, but it suffers from that sort of sameness. It's so much like the original that it doesn't necessarily justify its existence. But I have fun with both of them.
Me as well.
A ghost trap? There hasn't been a ghost sighting in 30 years. New York in the 80s? It's like The Walking Dead. Your dad never mentioned this to you?
It's just my mom. My grandfather died. My mom says we're just here to pick through the rubble of his life.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Call it fate. Call it luck. Call it karma. I believe that everything happens for a reason. Come on, darling.
It has a gunner seat?
Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is one of the highest profile of the legacy sequels. Interesting to me because just a few years before this, they did the Ghostbusters remake that was the all-female Ghostbusters. And the internet got all upset and people got their noses out of joint and they said it was like this terrible fan service, blah, blah, blah. They didn't like it. And I reviewed the movie for the podcast, and I thought it was completely fine. I didn't think it was in anywhere near as good as the original Ghostbusters, but that wasn't going to happen. Like, there was no scenario where that was going to be the case, but I couldn't understand what the fuss was about. Then Afterlife comes out, and it is much better received, and I watch it with my family. I also enjoy this movie very much. And not to get out on an adversarial front, but I don't understand why the Lady Ghostbusters movie is people complain about fan service, and Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is absolutely slavishly fan service to an almost embarrassing degree at times, wasn't really punished for it. In this case, it was aw shucks nostalgia. In the previous case, it was like wholesale theft. And I don't understand.
I wonder why an all-female cast wouldn't get the same
respect.
Credit. It's so weird.
Well, and I myself have complained about gender swapping remakes just for the sake of doing it. I don't necessarily always understand the purpose, but that was doing more new, I think, with the Ghostbusters brand than Afterlife is. Not that Afterlife is bad in any way. I just, this is sort of the baggage that I carry in going into this movie, but
I really like the all-female one. I watched it. I thought the Kate McKinnon's, quirky scientist was hilarious.
Yeah.
like, honestly, Melissa McCarthy was the worst part of that movie, and she was pretty good.
I think
in my
that
opinion. Like,
my wife gets mad when I call it the Lady Ghostbusters, but we'll call it the Lady Ghostbusters for brevity. I think that the Lady Ghostbusters is better at being a comedy, and Afterlife... and Ghostbusters was a comedy. Afterlife is better at being kind of a ghost adventure movie. Somewhere between these two movies, maybe the ultimate Ghostbuster sequel existed, but they're both really good, and they're both worth watching, and neither of them are anywhere near the original. The original is just...
all of the original characters, like, signed off on. They came in, they did their little cameo bit.
Yep.
It was great. Like, they played a great role in how they came back into the... And that's my biggest criticism of this one, is that movie's just completely ignored. Like, they're just living in this universe that movie has never existed.
No.
And that's, like, a hard pill for me to swallow. But
Jason Reitman, Ivan Reitman's son, directs this movie. Ivan Reitman directed the original two Ghostbusters movies. So I think that brought a little bit of more personal sort of oomph to it. And they were able to get Bill Murray. I know Bill Murray did a cameo in the other Ghostbusters movie, the Lady Ghostbusters movie, but he's Venkman, which is what all the Ghostbuster fans would really want. I find it disingenuous on Bill Murray's part, personally. Bill Murray refused to do any more Ghostbusters because he had a falling out with... Harold Ramis was like... He helped with the screenplays, and he was director in his own right, and they were pretty tight until they did this movie Groundhog Day together.
Is that what the falling out was over?
Yeah, apparently Bill Murray wanted the movie to be much more Twilight Zone-y and darker and less whimsical and romantic than it ended up being. They had this big falling out over it, and this entire movie is about kind of paying tribute to Harold Ramis. And I think if Harold Ramis was still alive, Bill Murray wouldn't be there. And I think that's kind of gross. Especially considering the aw shucks deeply... and I felt it in my... I grew up watching Ghostbusters. I got the feels at the end of that movie. But I know it's disingenuous coming from Bill Murray. For Bill Murray, this is a paycheck. Which, as a Ghostbusters fan, hurts me.
The moment that gave me the feels with the character was when granddaughter... like, realizes her glasses are the same, like, when she's, like, going through and finding all of the stuff in the murder house or whatever they call it.
Right.
And, like, she's, like, this weird outsider, and she doesn't fit in, and, like, you know, she's clearly coded as being on the autism. She never said that, but it's, like, coded in, and she's on the spectrum or whatever. And, like, then she finds these pieces of her grandpa that are, like, remind her of herself.
Yeah.
And she starts to, like, find her identity through finding those... That was, like, the feels for me. When she holds up the glasses, I was just like, oh, kiddo, you're going to be okay.
Well, and the whole thing, we should talk plot, because this family has moved into this old family. Carrie Coon, who I really like in this movie, and her two kids are moving into her father's old farmhouse. And it turns out that this is Spengler from the Ghostbusters, and he died and left them this property, but he'd come to this place to finish some unfinished business. The evil Gozer conduit, evil entity coming to take over the world, is reconstituted to this area, and he has dedicated his life to stopping this evil from happening, at the cost of all of his friends and all of, like, his contacts in life. He just keeping a plug on this evil. And I'm of two minds about the... Sorry, say that again, girl?
Like, and all of his credibility, like, he's lost everything.
Yeah. And I'm of two minds of that. It's helpful for the story, but that's certainly not what we wanted for our beloved, Ghostbuster character. And so many of these, like, sequels do that. When we catch up with Indiana Jones, his life is shit. When we catch up with whomever, his life has fallen apart between the last movie, right? John McClane has always fallen out with his wife when we catch up with him in the next movie, right? It's just... wouldn't it be a refreshing difference if we caught up to one of our, classic characters and they were doing great? Right?
It's peachy.
But the
so
kids...
They call it the Dirt Farm.
Yeah.
That's what they keep calling it,
the Dirt Farm. But the kids slowly find out that their grandpa was a Ghostbuster, and this is kind of awesome, and they're not happy about the move. They have to adjust to this life, and the the mom is doing the best as a single mom, and I really connect to this family. I really like this family, and that goes a long way to getting me into the movie. Because once we get into the plot, it is the same plot of the first movie. Like, it is.
This one reminded me, too, of, like, the first Jurassic World in the way, like, they're going through the old park and rediscovering the car and the logos and the this and the merch, and, you know, they kind of followed that same trajectory in this movie as the kids are exploring the house of finding, like, the old coveralls and then the gun and then the ghost trap and then the car, and it's like, us as viewers are so happy because we get to see all of these, like, original things that we fell in love with in the first movie.
But call it what it is, right? It's fan service.
Yes, for sure.
Like, in the Lady Ghostbusters, when the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man showed up, right? People were like, oh man, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, really? You're going there? Well, in this movie, we get, like, an army of little baby Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and everyone cheered. Again, I don't understand.
I will say for me with this movie, Paul Rudd's character is the one that I have the hardest time with, because I feel like it's just Paul Rudd being like, hey, I'm in a Ghostbuster movie.
That's right.
This is awesome, guys. I'm in a Ghostbuster movie. Like, I just never got into it. I don't think his character was necessary.
Well,
he doesn't add anything. Like, even the romance thing between the mom, like, that's nothing to do with the story. Like, they could have completely eliminated that character, and the same story would have happened. You know? Somebody
else just would have been possessed by the Gozer demon or whatever. But I don't know. I maybe you took it personally as a teacher. I liked his very laissez-faire approach to education for the summer classes. Today we're going to be watching a VHS copy of Cujo.
I remember because Parker and I watched this movie too, and I had to explain to her what Cujo is,
right.
and also what a VHS tape was.
Which is why it was funny, and that's kind of what Paul Rudd brought. And I also liked the sort of awkward exchange between he and Connie Coon after they'd been possessed, and they were already vibing and attracting to each other, but the possession kind of bumped the relationship up to a different level prematurely. And I don't know, I liked the weird, uncomfortable vibe between them afterwards. Like, this was probably not the best way for our relationship to start.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, he was fine, but I just felt like he was the one that I just literally felt that he was just, like, so stoked to be in a Ghostbuster movie that he couldn't get over it.
Yeah. I don't know, the Muncher Ghost. Do you know the Muncher Ghost? The thing that eats the metal and spits metal at them? It wasn't repeating Slimer, but it was Slimer close enough that it was, like...
Or adjacent?
Yeah. And, I don't know if maybe it's something worth addressing in the Ghostbusters lore, because sometimes the ghosts look like people, and sometimes they're like those little blobby things. And is there a reason for that? Like, if this was Beetlejuice or something like that, maybe there would be a reason. Like in Beetlejuice, if you commit suicide, you have to work a government job in the afterlife forever, right? Like, there's rules somehow. And maybe something that a new Ghostbusters movie could do is expand that kind of area.
How the spirit hierarchy works.
Yeah, well, I mean, instead of just coming up with a different ancient evil for them to fight every time, which is kind of, I'm guessing, where they're going with this. What did you think of Podcast?
He was so sweet. He was such a cool character. I really liked him. I don't know. I thought, like, the way that he gave himself the nickname of Podcast. Like, oh, who calls you Podcast?
Yeah.
I do.
Yes.
Like, I thought he was really great.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I felt like it could go one way or the other, beside feeling personally judged as a podcaster who has dozens of listeners. Like, I sort of get the whole podcasting is pathetic as a punchline. I understand it, but as a podcaster, it still hurts my feelings a little bit. But I'm going to land on your side. I was charmed by this little kid, and I was charmed that he and the Dan Aykroyd character, like, connected right away when they met.
Totally. Even like, the teacher is the one who's like, oh, your podcast? Like, he's, oh, right, no, it was that character, like, when he realizes he has a listener or whatever,
Yeah.
like, that was really great.
You're my subscriber?
Yeah. It was, for me, it was the older brother character that was, like, I preferred podcast, like, the dynamic between the sister and her friend, as opposed to, like, her sister and the older brother or whatever. Like, again, he was fine. There was nothing, and he was good in the role and whatever, but
Yeah.
he wasn't, like, didn't stand out to me as anything. Like, he could have been any angsty teen boy moving to the dirt farm, and it would have been okay. He didn't bring anything.
Is it Finn Wolfhard, I want to say, is the name of the actor?
The Stranger Things kid, that's how I know him.
Yeah. I think he's fine too, but I think what you were talking about, the Paul Rudd character, kind of feeling superfluous too. This is where I felt this a little bit of superfluous. The whole other thing with the girl that he likes and him lying about his age, all that really does is get them to the wellhead where they see the ghosts escape the well, but, like, his part in the story just is nowhere near as big or as interesting as his little sister. Whenever we cut to a scene with him, I want to be back with his little sister and see what she and Podcast are getting up to.
Totally.
The end of the movie, look, I really do think it is emotionally manipulative and, like, a CGI recreation of Harold Ramis, which is really well rendered, and he never says a word, which I think is a very, very, very good choice. It did get me in the feels. Like, I was feeling a little bit of dust in my eyes, especially the first time I watched it. But I also felt it was kind of manipulative. Like, it worked, but it was a little manipulative. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I don't think you can have a movie about ghosts and ghost busting
Yeah.
with a dead Ghostbuster and not bring him into the story some way. I don't know, like, to me, like, it's not like he died and he can't be a character in the movie anymore, because he's specifically talking about how ghosts are a real thing.
Yeah.
I think they had to have worked him in some capacity. I thought I liked at the beginning when he was just, like, helping his granddaughter, right? Like, he was, like, making the light shine on things so she'd observe things and notice things and find all, like, I liked that level of interaction with him, and you knew it was him. You always knew it was him. There was never a question who this ghost was, right? So at the end, it did, I'm with you. I wept. Like, the first time I saw it, I was just, like, my, like, little heart from watching it when I was a kid was just, like, they're all together again, and he's helping.
I was also...
But it felt like a slap in the face. Like, it felt like it was just, like, pouring it off.
So much there. But I was as touched or more touched by when she found the little wall dedicated to her. Connie Coon went downstairs and she found it, and he was, like, watching her from afar to the specificity of, like, counting her freckles on her face. Like, he'd abandoned her, but he had not lost interest in her. Like, he had followed her every movement with such interest that, like, that was kind of touching. And I'm not sure I fully understand why he couldn't have picked up the phone or, like, tried to explain this to his family and friends, but it was, I guess, just necessary for the plot and to keep the engine of the movie driving. But that was the stuff that really worked. Actually seeing him was an impressive special effect, and it did hit the feels. But it was, in a weird way, easier than that beat in the basement where she realized, no, her father did love her. He just wasn't able to show her that.
So they, like, when they're going to the house, rediscovering him and, like, figuring all this stuff out about him, like, I liked those moments, those interactions with him better.
Yes.
They were sweeter. They were just more, I don't know, yeah, they weren't as schmaltzy. I don't know how to say it. They were sweet. And, like, I imagine, like, you know, something that happened to me and I had to go and clean out my parents' house and I'm going through old photo albums. That happens to you as an adult and you lose parents, you know? So I liked those moments in the movie. It would have been enough to just leave it at that. I hope back in the new one, like, I hope that was, like, a one and done, and that's, like, they're going to move on from that.
Yeah, I don't think he should be a ghostly sidekick, and I don't know how to feel about again, I don't like to take the brush out of an artist's hand at any point, but like, if someone's passed away and you're using their likeness to continue a character in a story, this is a gray area for me. A very gray area for me. This was clearly done out of respect, and again, like, the ending does work. I don't want to pretend that it doesn't. It just that there's a conversation to be had here.
And I do think it brought closure to it, because, like, you know, like, and that's what I mean. I hope they don't continue with it, because I really do feel like this closed that loop of those characters and their relationships. And I do think, as like fans who've grown up with these movies, like, that was nice for us to have the closure too, because we lost him as a Ghostbuster, we lost him as an actor, and we really liked him. And so for us to have that little bit of closure, like, I think it was fine.
Yeah,
it was fine, but I wouldn't like do much more with it than just that.
Yeah. Afterlife is worth your time if you're a Ghostbusters fan, but I'm still of the opinion that Ghostbusters 2 is the worst Ghostbusters movie. So send your hate mail to ranknreview@gmail.com.
No, I'm with you. I'm not sending the hate mail. I agree with that statement. I also like that the secretary was there. I always like when she's there.
Annie Potts.
I love her.
Annie Potts, man. Pretty in pink.
Yeah, she's really great.
From the farthest corner of a distant galaxy and the deepest feelings of the human soul comes a fantasy to fill your heart.
I feel tremendous. I'm ready to take on the world.
It is everything you've dreamed of. It is nothing you expect.
Oh, I can keep a secret. I won't tell anybody.
It's hard to know who to trust.
It is the mystery of an awesome secret. It is the miracle of everlasting life.
We'll never be sick. We won't get any older, and we won't ever die.
Beyond the innocence of youth and the wisdom of age lies the wonder of Cocoon. 20th Century Fox presents the new film from the producers of Jaws and the director of Splash. Cocoon.
1985. Cocoon. Directed by Ron Howard. I knew Ron Howard as the nerdy kid from Happy Days at this time in my life.
I can't see him as anything other than that, ever.
But he would go on to do, like, Willow, which is a movie I love a lot from the 80s. I mean, you look at it now and it's like, we want to be Lord of the Rings but are not. But in 1988, it was as close to Lord of the Rings as we were going to get. So I do like him as a director. He's not a guarantee. Like, the script has to back up his play, but he's a very capable director. And I remember this is a movie that I watched quite a bit as a kid. And I had a strange connection with the actor who played the grandson, Wilfred Brimley's grandson. I can't think of his name right now, but he was the lead in The Never-Ending Story. That little boy. And he played Bastian in Never... I'm sorry, say that again?
I thank you for finally putting that piece together in my brain.
So you recognized him, but you didn't recognize. Yeah, and he also did an 80s episode of The Twilight Zone, based on a Stephen King story called Grandma, about this little boy who is scared to death of his own grandmother. And I, even as a little kid, I guess I was a fan of him where I related to him. In Never-Ending Story, he was battling bullies, and I guess I could relate to that. And he was about my age. And yeah, I recognized him being in this movie, and it started putting things together in my head, like, actors are kind of cool, like, they get to do cool things. I was also, in part, co-raised in a lot of ways by a lot of retired people. The Frontiersmen in Edmonton, Alberta, which is like a group that works for veterans to make life easier for retired veterans and give people stuff to do and arrange events. And I would often be sort of being taken care of by my grandparents and end up at these places with all of these older people. I was around them a lot at the lake and at these frontiersmen places, and I stuck out because I was the only kid there, and then sometimes I felt like I was weirdly resented for my presence. And in other times I was very embraced for my presence, but being young I didn't understand it. Revisiting Cocoon all of these years later, I start to understand it. Because that little boy that I had, a little fanboy thing over was like, he's my age, he's middle-aged now. Wilford Brimley, who had to be aged up to be in this movie, so he looked as old as Hume Gronin and Jessica Tandy and some of his legitimately, senior co-stars. He was my age when he made this movie, right? And it's very much about facing death. As much as this is, the old people find this pool that they sort of sneak in and they swim and they're getting their little bit of, reckless energy out and fighting the system. But these weird cocoons show up in the pool and it ends up rejuvenating them. And they befriend these alien people who are using the pool to store these things because they want to bring their friends back home. But it's about death. The movie is about a full-on confrontation with death. I mean, yes, these old people are deciding to go to outer space, to a different place where they'll never see their friends and family ever again. And they'll live forever, or so they are told. But as far as this world, this life, it's death. So when Wilford Brimley takes his grandson fishing for the last time, and he's having this conversation with his grandson, he knows it's the last time he's going to talk to his grandson, ever. So the entire movie is sort of a discussion of mortality. And I recognize these people, the lovely old couple, Rose and what's his name, where she's sort of starting to lose herself, but he takes care of her, and like the fact that she's changing doesn't change his love for her at all. Just the warmth of the entire movie. And particularly personified by Brian Dennehy, who's sort of the leader of the alien creatures. I don't know why that actor always kind of reminds me of my dad. He doesn't look like my dad in any way, but he's got this vibe that's kind of stern looking, but he's kind of warm underneath that external hard vibe. And it just, I don't know, so much of this movie put me back to being a little kid hanging out with these seniors and not as a child appreciating, the different end of the spectrum that we were at. I was at the very beginning of my life and they were closing to the end of theirs, and whether they meant it or not, maybe there was a little bit of tension or resentment in that reality. I was
saying, like, I had a very similar experience to you in that I relate to the Never-Ending Story kid because I was the kid hiding under the blanket to finish the book.
Right.
Like, getting yelled at because it's time for bed and you need to stop reading. And, like, I just had that, like, when you see him hiding with his flashlight, I'm like, that was me.
Me.
But then when I was growing up, my like, best friend was my great-grandma. And she lived very close to the school in the small town where I grew up. And so instead of catching the bus home to the farm, I would often just go to her place after school or on sick days or anything like that. And on Thursday afternoons in my small town, the town hall would open for senior citizens afternoon. So on Thursday afternoons, I would go. I was her great-grandchild, but I was the only kid there. It was like me and all of these other 80-year-olds playing either crib or crazy eights and drinking tea and eating matrimonial square. And like to this day, when people are like, what's your favorite dessert? I'm like, matrimonial square. It's like the biggest old lady dessert ever. It's like what I request for my birthday. It's like my special treat. It's so weird. And so I very much relate with you being the only kid around all of these people and not appreciating. I mean, I always enjoyed myself. Like, I enjoyed going to Senior Citizen Day with my grandma. But, like, I didn't fully appreciate the knowledge like I've missed out on opportunities to like gain knowledge from them because I was just so young.
Yeah.
Like I think Grandma died when I was maybe 9 or 10. So kind of before I became aware of like what they could offer me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, for me, they were a lot of veterans, and we would hang out at the lake in the summertime, and they were drinking a lot and talking about old times, and I didn't really fit in with the group a lot, but, you know, every summer there was fewer of them, and, you know, I moved to Saskatchewan, went to university, and I came back and everyone was gone. And it was only then that it sort of started to, like, I started to understand, you know, what they must have been thinking of this little kid running around in these like veteran events where they wanted to be to themselves. They wanted to be with their fellow veterans and be all together. Yeah, and having this little kid bouncing around asking them to pay him attention was probably really irritating. But it dug up all of these emotions in me in this movie. Like, best case scenario, if everything goes well for us, we're going to end up senior citizens someday, Raylee. And this is our fate. And being at a home like that and watching your friends die off and just waiting for your turn, and how you fill the days knowing that this series of rooms that you're in are the last series of rooms that you're likely to see, it's incredibly heavy. And the movie is very light and sweet and warm despite that heaviness. And I don't know why.
It doesn't shy away from those conversations either.
No, but it doesn't want to leave you devastated. And I don't think it necessarily does intend to leave you devastated, but I kind of was rocked by Cocoon revisiting it. Like, I'm not going to say I wept, but I cried. Like, I was moved by it. The two scenes particularly, Wilfred Brimley saying goodbye to his grandson, and the scene where the old fellow goes to wake up his wife and she's passed away. It really shook me in a way that few movies have, and I watch movies all the time for the podcast, and I think I wasn't expecting it. I think it was just, this was going to be a nostalgic trip back to the 80s, my childhood, and that I would be warmed by it. It would make me smile, and it made me cry.
Well, and I think too, like, I'm in that generation. Like, I remember when my grandpa passed away, and then I had the realization that now my dad, because he's the oldest sibling in his family, like, so when his dad passed away, now he is that oldest person in our family.
Yeah.
And, like, that was, like, a huge... I really struggled with that epiphany. Like, that was the big... I had to process a lot of feelings around that, and, like, I'm in that generation, like, where that's where our parents are now in their life, and I'm seeing my colleagues and my friends go through taking care of their parents, being caregivers, and losing their parents. Like, it's really hard right now, you know. And there's moments where I just like really realize that, like, yeah, this is where we are, and it's not all like fun anymore and beers at the beach, you know.
No, it's tricky. It's also funny at the time. I think maybe the biggest name in the movie was Steve Guttenberg. he owns this boat, and he gets hired by he doesn't realize they're aliens at the time, to take him up to these specific coordinates so they can do some diving, and he sort of gets wrapped up into the alien world too. But I am. It's not that I'm not interested in the Gutenberg character, but I am so much more invested in the seniors. There's these guys who want to sneak out from their prison, as they think of it, and do these covert swims, and how either way, without the magical alien cocoons, this was good for them. This was keeping them sort of mentally and physically fit, and giving them a little secret, giving them a little spice to their life. Once they start getting rejuvenated and the other people start noticing, well, understandably, everybody else wants in on this too. The scene that I had the most trouble with as a kid was when all of the senior citizens evaded the pool and were like overcrowding it and starting to use up the alien energy and playing with the cocoon pods, trying to crack them open. I remember as a kid just finding that so, oh, stop!
Stop what you're doing!
Yeah, and now as a middle-aged man, I find the whole movie feels like that.
But I really liked how the giddiness, like, as they slowly get more rejuvenated, like, by the pods or whatever, like, the I think it's four men, kind of originally, right? The four main characters who are breaking into the pool.
Yeah.
And like, it's a slow realization, but we see what's happening, but they don't before they understand what's happening. And like, I really like how they played out and the like giddiness, and then all of the things they started to do, and like I really loved that whole like sort of part of the movie where they're rediscovering their youth.
They're having a Goonies adventure as a bunch of senior citizens.
Yeah, it was really great. Like, I really loved, unlike you, I cared about the old people in the relationships, and like when he was like not able to drive anymore, and then he was like like all of those moments, like I was really invested in like I felt like it was like the Days of Our Lives soap opera of the old folks' home, and I was like fully there for the drama, fully there for the gossip. I wanted it all.
Full-on hardcore 80s sequences, to be fairly warn people about, when they get in their groove back and they go dancing. It's like one of the most 80s scenes that you can ever 80s. So beware of that if that's a problem for you. But it's one very goofy dance sequence. So.
Yes. But good. It was really sweet and really earnest and just like really lovely.
Yeah.
I just found this whole movie just like you said, it's sad and there's moments and it's heavy, but it's also just very sweet and very lovely and very earnest, I found, watching it.
So that relationship between Wilford Brimley and his grandson, like, his grandson doesn't want his grandfather to go so much that he wants to go with him, because his grandfather is levels with his grandson on what's going on, whether he should have or not. And there's this whole dramatic sequence where they're chasing the seniors on the boats, and the little kid, the grandson, jumps off of the boat into the water, and Wilford Brimley is terrified. He can't leave not knowing that his grandson's okay, and his grandson calls out from the water to his grandfather, "I'm okay, I'm not scared." And there was something about that just touched me so deeply. Like, he was letting his grandpa go. "Don't worry, I'm okay. Go live forever, Grandpa. I'll be okay." And it just, my feelings.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to be as touched by this movie as I was, as moved by this movie as I was, for sure.
Like, I'm not scared. Everybody's scared. You should be scared. It's amazing that you're not scared. And it's hard to say goodbye to people, you know?
I think in my memory, it was like I mean, obviously it's like sci-fi or whatever. There's pods and aliens and they go to outer space. But like, I think in my mind, it was much more alien-y and creepy and like more sci-fi. Like, I think that's how I remembered it. And it really wasn't that. Like, it wasn't to me. Like, I wouldn't, even though it is, I wouldn't classify it like that.
This is much closer to the friendlier aw shucks E.T. warm alien vibe. But at the risk of airing an unpopular opinion, it's better?
Yeah, different.
Different. Okay, let's say different then. Let's part friends here.
I mean, I'm not one to, I'm not a big, but I don't know. There is also some, like, sweetness about that movie, too, right? Yeah, no, I really liked it. I actually liked it a lot more revisiting it than I expected it. And that's like a theme on this list.
Yeah. I was expecting to like it less, and I ended up liking it more. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I always say this on your podcast, but I always say, like, who can I recommend? There's like, I could recommend this movie to people. Like there's people that I'd be like, oh yeah, you have never seen that? You should really go watch that movie. Like, it's really sweet. It's really good. It's a little dated, but it's still pretty good.
I know you're very aware of a movie called Say Anything. There's a scene in Say Anything where Lloyd Dobler is at the senior citizens home and he tells everyone, today we're going to be watching a movie, and the movie's called Cocoon, and I guess it's about old people and it's supposed to make you feel really good, so that's a good thing and we should watch it.
I do not remember that scene.
It's a thing that happens in the movie, but would it be a good movie to show to elderly people, or would they take it personally? Like, don't confront me with my mortality like this. Thank you very much.
Well, it's just all of the, like, things that you give up. Like, just that lack of independence and that lack of freedom and lack of mobility. And, like, you just really saw how they were struggling with growing old and having to, like, give up things that they were used to being able to have and being frustrated about it and stuff, right? And, like, I don't feel like this is a movie I would want my parents to watch. Personally, I don't know if they'd feel really great about it.
Yeah, I think there might be a point where I get too old to enjoy Cocoon. Not yet, though. Not yet.
Welcome to America. Spaceships from a very small planet. Very small. This is history. Machines that reproduce themselves.
I like being a family again. What the hell is that? It's them, the little guys.
I don't know how you got here or why you picked us.
Somebody's helping them. Somebody's bringing them together.
Is that why you're here?
Batteries not included.
Jessica Tandy and Hugh Cronin were two of the major stars in Cocoon, which we just talked about, and they are two of the major stars in Batteries Not Included, which was just a couple years later, I believe, after Cocoon. Another 80s sci-fi, aw shucks, feel-good family picture, at least by description. Upon revisiting Batteries Not Included in 2024, I was shocked at the darkness in this movie. Like, I'd seen it as a child, but I just had, like, vague memories of being charmed by the cute little robots, right?
And they're cute.
They are.
They're cute little robots.
They're cute little robots. But the movie largely deals with a neighborhood that was once prosperous, which is now basically crumbling, literally crumbling around them, infested with crime, and this one apartment building that's holding out while people are being forcefully bullied and evicted and, like, violently thrown out to, really uncertain, unhappy fates. Everybody we meet in the building is in a different state of desperation, but particularly this old couple, Jessica Tandy and Hugh Cronin. Jessica Tandy it's got to be Alzheimer's or some kind of, dementia. And she's always forgetting that her son has passed away and is waiting for him to come home. And she's always wandering about and people worried about her getting lost. And it's kind of played whimsical and sweet, but it just isn't. It's heavy. The movie doesn't really get whimsical and sweet until the cute robots show up for me. I was kind of shocked because whether or not it was aimed at a kid's market with those little robots in it, the kids were going to watch this movie. And I found, like, the first half an hour, 40 minutes of this movie kind of upsetting. It's just nice people who I like having terrible things happen to them. Elizabeth Pena, who plays the woman who's pregnant and develops a relationship with the artist, I always thought she's a wonderful actress, and she left too early. She was in Jacob's Ladder, and she did a lot of other interesting acting, and very great naturalistic actress. And she's just getting shit on constantly, like, the whole time. They even try to make the guy who's being hired to evict everybody have some sort of sympathy to him because he's being manipulated by an evil force above him. But
but he really plays the, like, he just needs the job, right? And, like, we've all been in the where sometimes you just need the paycheck. Like, he's also kind of down on his luck, But
there are lines that he crosses, and when he crosses them, he feels that he's crossed that line. So I think the movie does a good job of making us sympathize with all of these characters, but I think they might have been a little bit too dark. I think it could be accused of being a little too harsh for a kid's movie anyway. Maybe not too harsh for you or I, but then the cute little robots crash land in the building and they have to recharge off of the electricity. And of course, Jessica Tandy is the first person to make contact with them, and nobody believes her. And then for a brief while it's a little bit of a comedy of errors, but it sort of becomes the alien robots become something that all of these neighbors can sort of group around, and that joining of the neighborhood or the community, whatever you want to call it, makes them much stronger and much more able to defend themselves against this world that is actively trying to squish them. That and the fact that the robots are able to fix things, everything, even broken glass, whatever, magically overnight, like little gnomes or something. It's a charming movie, but it didn't devastate me the way that Cocoon did. But I was surprised that it did hold up. Like, it is a very strange 80s sci-fi family movie, and it does lay things on pretty damn thick. But I still give it a thumbs-up review. I was surprised by this. I thought on revisiting this, I would be embarrassed for having ever liked it, especially after being rocked by Cocoon. But I'm not rocked by Batteries Not Included, but I am, I must confess, kind of charmed by it. So that's where I start.
Well, and I'm the same. Like, I only remembered this movie for the robots. Like, I didn't remember any of the backstory, which was so in depth and developed, and like there was like you said, there was like so much movie before the actual robots show up. It's just like not at all fun or cutesy in any way.
The music is playing so softly, and it's treating it in this bouncy sitcom way, but the subject is bleak.
Well, and so then, and also I was really worried when I revisited this that like how fake the robots would, like, just that the effects would, and they were so good. Like I always say, like, they didn't take me out of the movie. I still fully was invested in the movie, and I didn't look at it being like, oh man, that's really crappy CGI or whatever. It's not CGI, but like effects. And yeah, and I just like, I was so worried. I was worried for all of the characters. Like, I really just wanted everyone to be okay. Just really, the robots, the old people, the pregnant lady, I just really needed them all to be okay.
There's that.
Against this, like, corporate, capitalist, like, demolition team.
There's that basically mute ex-boxer guy who bonds with the little robots as well. Like, you're just scared for anything bad happening to him as well. To go back, this is a weird thing to bring up, but it's something I clocked. To go back to our Addams Family review, it's kind of charming that these robots fuck. They don't make little baby robots with bits and pieces. No, they get together and they give birth to baby robots. And one of them looks like it's briefly been stillborn, and it's this like almost devastating moment that happens. And it's like, when you talk about it, okay, in this movie, an old lady like makes a little cubby in this rooftop hutch so that these two little like pie plate looking saucer robots can go in and have sex and procreate. And it's treated unbelievably straight. Like, they play it completely seriously. Describing it, it's utter madness, and it kind of is, but because Jessica Tandy is so committed, you have no choice. You just take the ride.
So yeah, and like that's the thing, when you're, like you said, when you're trying to describe the plot of this movie to anyone, you're like, this is fucked up. Like, this is a weird movie, but like something about it just really worked for me, and I really love Jessica Tandy. Like I come by her, like I pretty much love her in all of the movies that she's in. Yeah, just something about this movie just worked. I don't know how or what, but it does. And yeah, I just really wanted everyone to be okay. I was just really worried about them.
I mean, Jessica Tandy finally got her Oscar, I think, for Driving Miss Daisy, right? But I saw her in The Birds, which is like 1966 or 67 or something like this, and she looks the same. Like 67, 77, 87, like she always seemed to look like somebody's grandmother for like the longest time. I guess Wilfred Brimley suffered from that too. Since he was 30, he looked like he was 70.
Damon fried green tomatoes.
Yeah. That's another good Jessica Tandy performance. She's very charming in that movie.
Yeah, that's the one for me that like made me really like her, and then I discovered a lot of her other stuff, but she looks exactly the same in all of them.
But this is a tricky role, because like I say, I don't know how seriously they're taking the Alzheimer's or the dementia. Like, it's a plot point. It's a lever into the plot. It's a reason why people don't believe her. It's a reason why we're worried for her when she wanders off. And it's a tricky thing. Like, I don't think it would be played this way today. But I also don't necessarily think people would be offended by it. I think you understand what they're doing in the movie.
Well, and I think there's also just a concern that she's going to be taken advantage of by these thugs, right? Like,
Yeah.
because she's so vulnerable. There's that overwhelming, like, there's, like, the pregnant lady, single mom, there's the older lady with dementia, like, they're just so vulnerable to these really yucky people that are coming in and trying to take over, right?
Yeah.
But no, I think too, for me, this one, the score really stood out to me, like the behind, like it really is working hard to make you feel what you're feeling.
Yes.
And I really know, I mean, I always kind of noticed that, but this one really stood out to me.
Yeah. I don't get weepy easy in movies, and no, Batteries Not Included didn't make me get dusty in my eyes or make me cry the way Cocoon, I confess, legitimately did. I felt how it could, though. Like, as ridiculous as the movie was, I felt like it could play the heartstrings for some people. Like, and the aesthetic of that 80s type of movie, where you're right, the soundtrack is, you know, this is how you are supposed to feel right now. It is very front and center. It is very manipulative. But they did that all the time with 80s movies and vintage Spielberg movies, and that's how I grew up. And yeah, it might be a little heavy-handed, but there's comfort for me there. I don't know, I just like it. It's a warm place to be.
But also, like you mentioned this earlier, of just like how dark all of these movies, like none of them are dark, like none of them are like making me feel scared or like anxious, like, but they're heavy, like, and like you mentioned Willow and even like Never Ending Story, like there's some really heavy stuff going on in the 80s, and now I'm like, well, now I know why I'm the anxious human being that I am today.
But like, whenever somebody says, won't someone please think of the children, I respond, I watched all these dark, traumatizing movies as a kid, and I don't remember being traumatized by them then. Looking back, I go, holy shit. At the time,
like I said, I don't remember Batteries Not Included at all being heavy.
Yeah.
Or like I thought it was like a cute robot movie, like Short Circuit, maybe. I mean,
yeah.
You would have compared it to my brain.
It's
not
like
at all,
if
like
Short Circuit and E.T. had a baby, right? If Short Circuit and E.T. had a baby, it would be Batteries Not Included, and yeah, it seems like a cold Hollywood metric, but they don't make them like this anymore, and maybe they shouldn't, but I'm glad they made this one when they did.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there anything else you want to say about Batteries Not Included? It's better than it looks, you guys. Yeah, I know, it's got stiff competition, but I do say, like, if you roll your eyes thinking, yeah, this looks too silly, or this is, like, maybe not worth revisiting, I was in a similar place as you, and I was won over by it, much to my surprise. It was the one movie on the list. Sorry?
This was the first one I watched on the list.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm familiar with Addams Family and Hocus Pocus, but this was the first one that I watched for this.
Right.
Like, and I was like, oh, what? I get to watch really good movies? Rare for Larry podcast.
it's way better than it looks. Like, honestly, it looks very cheesy, and it is very cheesy, but it's still a good watch.
Well, and if you watch the trailer, it does not give you any indication to what the movie is going to be. The trailer is very cutesy and silly, and it doesn't. They don't compute. The trailer that I saw does not compute with the movie that I watched.
That does happen, doesn't it? Moving on.
Where have you been? Everybody's looking for you.
I'm here. Sort of.
I want my molecules back!
Now there's a price in my head.
The single most exotic intelligence asset on the planet is ours.
I don't sleep well. I can see through my eyelids, I can see through the top of my head. But I'll never sell out.
Think of the adventure we could have together. Oh.
Yeah, we can go to Frontierland.
Don't be afraid. It's me, Nick. You want to sit down?
If not for Alice,
We're the only people that can give you your life back.
I'd be lost forever.
You have a face again.
You don't have any body makeup, do you? Dropped about 10 pounds. But I'd look great naked.
Alice! Go away!
She saw me through it all.
I got him.
Nick, I love you!
Chevy Chase.
Morning. Morning.
Daryl Hannah.
Boy, how am I going to tell my mom about this?
Just tell her you met a guy. Could be serious. He's transparent.
Memoirs of an Invisible Man. A John Carpenter film.
All right, I don't know if you know, but I'm a big fan of this director, John Carpenter. And it's big. When I was first moving to Saskatoon, I spent a lot of my time at this place called the Paradise Theatre. You could watch 3 movies. I think it was $2.50. If you got there,
where was that?
It was downtown. It was downtown Saskatoon, the Paradise Theatre. Didn't last very long, but it's like a nightclub now or whatever. But I remember being super excited. They played the trailer there forever, and I really wanted to see it. It was John Carpenter. It was PG, so I didn't have to like sneak into it or whatever. And I was a big fan. I was, I liked it a lot. And for the time, this is early 90s. This is before Jurassic Park had come out. They were really pushing the special effects. And it's one of those things...
And after the thing.
Yeah. It's one of those things, though, when you're right on the line of special effects, at the time it comes out, it's dazzling. But it rapidly sort of gets surpassed. It's sort of the Zemeckis thing doing the Beowulf and like the Polar Express. When they came out, they're amazing light shows, but as they age, you see the cracks fairly rapidly, is the thing. Most of the special effects in this movie look really, really good. But upon revisiting it, I can't help but feel like this is the most distant John Carpenter movie I've seen that I can think of. It doesn't have that same feel that John Carpenter movies have. Part of it is his score. He tends to score his own movies, so they have this sort of tonal, techno-y 80s vibe to them, which is very familiar. But also just the way he tends to cut movies. He's not a very obtrusive director. He's like very get the job done. I don't know if it's because it was such a special effects extravaganza, or if it was the fact that Chevy Chase was doing everything he could to make John Carpenter's life miserable, because that's what Chevy Chase does when he's on his set. But I don't feel the presence of John Carpenter as I usually do when I watch a John Carpenter movie. It doesn't feel like a John Carpenter joint.
I was really surprised when I saw his name come up, like, on the credits. Like, I'm also a big John Carpenter fan, but, like, I did not realize he was attached to this movie, and so I was very worried about this movie. I had a lot of reservations going into this movie, and so then when I saw his name on the screen, I was like, oh, okay, like, maybe I don't need to be as worried. Maybe this will be okay.
And that's what I'm going to say. It is okay, but that is all. A lot of people, it bombed really hard, didn't make a lot of money, and a lot of people think it was a for-hire job, and because he had a falling out with Chevy Chase, he just wasn't invested. I still think there's enough...
Who hasn't?
That's right. There's enough here in the movie that works that I won't say that it doesn't work, but there's enough potential in the story and there's enough good in the source material that I kind of feel like this could have been an amazing movie. And I feel like it's haunted by the better movie it could have maybe been.
Yeah, I really liked the like film noir sort of take on him telling the story from like we're already at the end of the movie and he's like looking back and telling the story up until a certain point and then it becomes present time.
He's really videotaping himself so that if he dies, there's still some evidence behind. Yeah.
But then it goes up to the point that then it like
keeps
is
going
in real time again, right?
Yeah.
And I really liked that like storytelling element. Like I thought that was really great. Like I thought it was just really good storytelling piece. I thought the effect was fine. Like there's moments obviously, but there was the part with the rain, or I think it was the rain, and I was like, this is very like Edward from Twilight Sparkly Vampire.
Right, and they're playing it like, oh, he's so beautiful in the rain, right?
Yeah, and I was like, maybe that's where Twilight got its like ideas from, because it was very cheesy. But no, I actually, like I said, I had so many concerns. I thought this movie, going into it, knowing Chevy Chase as some of the stuff that has come out about him over the years being somewhat problematic, and the sort of trope of the invisible man that I had in my head, I thought this movie was going to be a lot more rapey. Gonna be real honest.
Oh, really? Okay.
I thought there was gonna be a lot more like lewd, like
National Lampoon humor.
Yes, and like where he's like watching the girl and like creeping on her, and like that was why I was so worried. And then right out the gate, he makes a joke about he might want to marry some girls in their late teens, early 20s, and that was like a joke very early on in the movie, and I was like, oh no, it's happening, and that was it. But then it doesn't happen, and I was so relieved. I was so relieved because I was so anxious about it.
I feel like Chevy Chase should have belonged to like the old school Rat Pack Hollywood, where you could just get away with being an unapologetic fucking asshole, and that was fine. But he didn't, the problem with Chevy Chase for me is not that he's a fucking asshole, it's that he is legitimately talented. If he wasn't talented, no one would put up with the fact that he's a fucking asshole. But he doesn't use his talent to entertain people. He uses his talent as an excuse to treat people like shit. And I know I've never met the guy, and I feel like I'm telling tales out of school, but honestly, do an internet search on any movie he's done and like do the trivia on it. You'll find a quote where the director said, Chevy made me want to quit the movie business entirely. Penelope Spheris said it. John Carpenter said it. The guy who directed Home Alone said it. Chevy Chase got him fired from Christmas Vacation. And John Hughes felt so bad, he told the guy, tell you what, I've got this other Christmas movie script called Home Alone. You can do that instead.
Really?
True story. Chevy Chase is just an impossible son of a bitch, but the problem is that he's funny. He's a really good actor, and he's really not... He's not an asshole on screen. On screen, he's weirdly charming. On screen, we weirdly cheer for him, and that stays true to this movie. Like... We're cheering for him. Do I believe the relationship between he and Daryl Hannah? No, not for a second. There's no heat there at all. That's all in the script. And I do feel like even the jokes you're talking about at the beginning of the movie, his character's from a different time. Like, he goes to a gentleman's club. Did those even still exist? Where only men are members and you go to swim and play racquetball and talk about how terrible women are or whatever. Like, I know that those used to be a thing, but were they still in the 90s? Was it just an old novel that it was based? I don't know. But the essential premise of the movie, this guy was accidentally made invisible and the powers that be are chasing him, and he needs to, well, not being found is easy, but like trying to find a solution to what his life is going to be now. Because what I like about it is that no obvious solution is ever granted this character. Like, this has happened to him and there's no undoing it. And whereas in the original story it renders the scientist mad, this guy who's the theorem hadn't been his life work, he just chose the wrong room to take a nap in, has to continually roll with these punches. Sam Neill is the lead pursuer in this, and unlike Chevy, he is the bad guy. He sort of represents the man. But unlike Chevy Chase, he and John Carpenter got along. So much so that he ended up starring in The Mouth of Madness a few years later. Another much, much, much better John Carpenter movie. I think the movie does work basically in an A to B to C. It has momentum to it. It's got familiar faces. Stephen Tobolowsky shows up in this movie. I've always liked that character actor. He's the guy who's always telling Sam Neill he's taking it too far. He's pushing it too far.
Oh, yeah.
That guy. It's well executed, but it's not that memorable to me. Like, in the catalog of John Carpenter movies, this one just doesn't really win, place, or show that high for me. I mean, it's okay. And it's a really good example of where cutting-edge special effects were at in the early 90s. And there's some interesting trivia to the movie, but I don't know, it didn't hold me, or it didn't excite me in the way that even Batteries Not Included engaged me somehow. I watched it, it was fine.
And for me, the fact that it wasn't sorry, I shouldn't use that word and laugh. Maybe we should edit this. The fact that it wasn't so awful when in regards to him being so, like, with women and stuff like that, is like, that's a pretty low bar.
Yeah. Well, if you're worried about that, then you'd think you're watching Hollow Man. That's the one where Kevin Bacon becomes the Invisible Man, and he is a rapey Invisible Man. So avoid that movie if that's a trigger for you.
Well, then I was thinking of, like, Ghost Dad came to mind, and I was thinking about and then I was like, so what happens in that one? I was trying to go through all of these other sort of, like, ideas of, like, Ghost Dad, all of these, like, where there's, like, this whatever, But
that's the thing, he's not a ghost, he's alive, he's a man, but his life is forever changed. No one will see him. And I like how the movie plays with this. Sometimes we can see Chevy Chase, but we understand that everyone else can't. So just navigating the sidewalk without running into somebody, and keeping the audience aware of when, you know, the illusion is being maintained, when we can see him, although no one else can. It's done pretty effortlessly, and it's harder to pull off than you'd think.
I was thinking that they did, like, Chevy Chase, and they did a really good job of moving between those two realities of us seeing him and not seeing him. I thought that was really seamless. I thought that her character, when she, like, realizes that he's invisible, like, she just, like, kind of rolled with it. Like, she didn't really seem too shocked. It didn't take her very long to, like, come to terms with, like, what had happened, but maybe that's just her. I don't know.
Daryl Hannah is very beautiful, and you put her in the right part, I think she can be really, really good. She's been spending a lot of time in Saskatchewan. You know, she's married to Neil Young.
No, I did not know that.
Fun fact. So she spent some time in Saskatchewan. Maybe you'll bump into Daryl Hannah someday at the mall. You never know. But no, I didn't feel the...
Is she also the one who played the mermaid character?
She's in Splash, yep. And in Blade Runner and a bunch of stuff. But I did not feel the heat between her and Chevy Chase at all. And I do think that's important to the movie. Like, she basically dedicates her life to helping this guy, and they barely knew each other. So there has to be a real connection there. And I don't know that the movie accomplishes that.
Well, because he had to stand her up on their first date.
That's right.
Because he was invisible already, right? So
yeah.
I did like the end montage of him just, like, skiing in, like, where did he want to go? Switzerland or Sweden?
Yeah,
Sweden?
Yeah. Well,
whatever,
just
where they wear face masks all the time.
It's cold. You wear a ski mask. You can walk around in public, and people will, you know, maybe not question that.
So
sort of thing.
I liked the end montage of him just, like, skiing off into the mountains, into the sunset sort of thing.
Well, and traditionally with the Invisible Man, where they go is he goes crazy. Because nobody can see him, or because he was already a mad scientist, when he realizes that he's invisible and he cannot be made visible again, he goes mad. In the original, he's a mass murderer, like I say in Hollow Man. Kevin Bacon gets really rapey. You saw the newest incarnation where it's basically an abusive husband using his powers of invisibility to gaslight his wife.
It was awful. It was awful. That movie made me so uncomfortable.
But it was doing it very deliberately. I mean, I think it was doing what it was trying to do.
Oh, no. I think the movie's really, really great. But like I was expecting a horror movie, not a spousal domestic abuse movie, and I was so uncomfortable watching it.
But I want to give points to Memoirs of an Invisible Man because it doesn't take that track. It's a different take on the Invisible Man. It's a noir adventure version of the Invisible Man, and I don't think it deserved to fail as hard as it did. But yeah, I feel it's a combination of Carpenter's heart not being in it after about probably the first few weeks of production, and just the toxicity around Chevy Chase. Apparently he nursed this project for a long time, and he really wanted to play it straight. He did not want this to be a comedy at all. He wanted, to prove himself. Chevy Chase.
Okay.
Chevy Chase, didn't want this to be goofy. Anytime they, he thought they were trying to make him do something bumbling and funny in Chevy Chase, he would fight back hard. And again, as much as I talk shit about him, I think he's good in the movie. He pays attention to things. Like I noticed when he reaches for glass, he almost always uses two hands. Because think about how hard it would be to pick something up if you couldn't see your hand. He's very aware of his environment and of the invisibility. And I do think he's giving an earnest acting performance and a good one. He's just also being a fucking asshole to everybody on set while he does it. And there's just no reason to do that.
And really the only, cheesy part that they could have done without is, all the stuff with, him eating.
Yeah.
There was a lot of jokes about the food, and they showed his stomach, and then he had to eat, clear broth. That was, really the only, kind of over-the-top, kind of ridiculous, silly moments, really. And, they could have done away with that. They weren't necessary.
But I think those were just showcases of the special effects. Here's what chewing gum looks like. Here's what eating food looks like. Or here's what taking a draw off of a cigarette looks like. Well, that was pretty cool. But
that always is cool.
It was just they would stop and show you this amazing special effect. And it sort of slowed the momentum of things a little bit. I get that, for sure.
Okay, not because we need to talk about it anymore, but I'm going to. The newest one with domestic abuse.
Yeah.
With the brat.
Right.
When you knew he was in the room. Again, I watched it with Beckman, who's a guest on your show, through my eyeballs, so uncomfortable.
Right.
Or through my hands.
No. This movie won't scare you, but it'll pass 100 minutes pretty efficiently.
But yeah, I thought it was going to be more slapsticky, and it was not slapsticky.
No. It's just a pretty basic adventure movie with good early 90s special effects. But, it's not as... Memoirs of Invisible Man isn't as memorable as I think it wanted to be for me.
And it is very difficult to find if you were trying to look for it. FYI.
Yeah, that's true.
Jump back. Twist the bones and bend the back.
Back in 1693, the people of Salem, Massachusetts, witches,
Yes?
thought they got rid of the Sanderson sisters for good.
We shall be back.
300 years later, it's Halloween Eve, and they're back.
We're home.
Are you broads a little old to be trick-or-treating?
We're talking about 3-inch hags versus the 20th century. How bad can it be?
Now they're digging up old friends
God, what a stench.
and running amok,
Come on.
looking for the one thing they miss most.
You stay for supper. I'm not hungry. But we are.
Only one boy has the power to stop them
Prepare to die again!
You have no powers here, you fool!
before all Salem falls under their spell.
Hello, you.
1993 Hocus Pocus, directed by Kenny Ortega, who I don't particularly know, But Mick Garris has a screenplay credit on here based off of a story from someone else. But Mick Garris works a lot with Stephen King. He did a lot of the made-for-TV adaptations of Stephen King, The Stand, The Shining, a bunch of those things. He did, just shortly before this, Psycho 4: The Beginning, and a great 80s guilty pleasure of mine called Critters 2, The Main Course. He's kind of an interesting...
I remember Critter.
I think you would appreciate Critters 2, The Main Course, Raylee. I do think that's something that you might get behind. It's one of a very few Easter-themed horror movies.
This is like oddly ringing a bell. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not here to talk about Critters 2. We're here to talk about Hocus Pocus. And I am not closely connected to the film the way I know that you and your daughter are, and I know that a lot of people are. My friend Heidi, who I worked with for a lot of years, this is one of her very favorite movies of all time. It seems to it made a connection with a lot of young girls for some reason, it seems. I mean, boys like it too, but I know a lot of girls who really are into Hocus Pocus. And what I want to give it a lot of points for initially out of the gate is we talked about a lot of 80s movies this episode, and how like 80s movies seem to be a little harsher and a little darker and a little bit not talking down to kids, being a little bit tougher with the themes. Hocus Pocus kind of feels like an 80s kids movie more than a 90s kids movie for a good portion of its running time. I mean, it's still a Disney production. We're not worried that little Thora Birch is going to get burned at the stake or anything like that, but a little girl is, her life energy is sucked out of her by 3 witches, and the boy is turned into a cat and sentenced to 300 years of, living in abject misery. There's jokes about, having little cute Thora Birch talk about teenage girls' yabos. There's like a strangely adult party happening in the backdrop of this kids movie that they keep on dropping hints at. There's a sort of a fun adultness that they sneak into the movie, I think, on the backdrop of it being a Halloween thing. Now, here's where I start to lose points with Raylee. I have never been a huge Bette Midler guy. Are we still...
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, there were moments, I remember liking Ruthless People when I was a kid, and there was like a few things, but some people obsess over the bet, and I am just not one of those people. But I did enjoy how she was, she seemed to be having fun and had no problem making herself look ugly and be terrible and, want to kill all the children of Salem. She didn't have any issues with being the bad character. And this may be the movie that I like Sarah Jessica Parker in. I guess I saw her in that Steve Martin movie LA Story. I have memories of her being okay in that, but generally speaking, I'm not a big fan of her either, but I think she's pretty funny in this movie. She does a lot with the hand that she's delivered. Basically, these witches are resurrected because a foolish virgin lights a candle on Halloween night, and they want to come back and steal the souls of all the children of Salem and get back to their witchy business. And it's up to this precocious little girl, her older brother, his crush, and a talking cat to stop these witches and their evil plans, foil their evil Halloween plans. And it's fun and goofy. And at the time I originally watched it, I thought kind of forgettable. I was obviously wrong about that because this movie has a huge cult following. Disney recently produced a sequel. Word is they're going to produce a third. There's a lot of noise around the property. I found it silly and fun and diverting, but if I'm honest, really, not a whole bunch more than that. I like the Halloween aesthetic. I always liked Thora Birch, especially in this era of her career. She did a lot of pretty high-quality movies in the early 90s. She was a little girl in Patriot Games, and for a child actor, she was very game, I always thought. So there's plenty to like here, but
Ghost World?
Yeah, she's great in Ghost World as well.
Yeah.
There's plenty to like here, but I guess I don't understand why it's become this sort of cultural linchpin and why it's become so beloved. I like it. I don't think I could say that I love it, but talk me into it. What is the magic of Hocus Pocus?
I would say this is like, even though Addams Family is very campy, it's still dark. Like, it still has these moments of kind of like darkness or whatever. This is like on our list the campiest of all of the movies.
Sure.
I found it's just like over the top. It almost feels like it should just be like a Broadway musical with the hair and makeup and the song numbers. Like, that's how Bette Midler's playing it. So, you know, like
Bette Midler sings at the party and makes everybody dance about. It is that kind of movie. Yes.
Yeah, and I think for me, but you said it came out 93?
I believe so. I want to say 93.
This is like, I think that all, like, girls, this is a precursor to The Craft.
Right.
And I really liked The Craft, right? And so it was like, this is like for all of those like spooky goth girls who are still in their like preteen, like not able to pull that off yet because you're still just too sweet.
Right.
This is a movie that gets you into the spooky goth girl stuff that will later become what's her face from The Craft, right?
Veruza Balk.
Yes, thank you. So I watched this as a young kid and then did not revisit it ever. Like, that was it. It was like kind of one and done. And then when my kiddo was born, I was trying to find movies that weren't terrible to watch with them.
Right.
But I didn't want to like claw my eyeballs.
I can relate for sure.
And they do kind of spook. Like, they still haven't watched Jurassic Park, the creature movies. Like, they're not there yet. They're working really hard to watch Jurassic Park with me. They're practicing, but
Right.
It's not there yet. So this was a movie that I could show them that they could tolerate for Halloween, like that wouldn't scare them too much, that we could sit and enjoy together. And so we just started enjoying it together. And when I revisited it, so that would have been probably, I don't know, like 8 or 9 years ago, I've been watching it with them. I actually was like, I kind of thought it was going to be terrible. Like, I put this movie on hoping it wasn't, being like, oh, hopefully this is a movie I can tolerate. And I did. I really liked it. I found it, like, the jokes held up really well. The effects, I mean, the cat is pretty terrible, but like everything else looked really great. I was very nervous about the sequel.
I have not seen the sequels.
We do enjoy it. But it's very, like, they do a lot. Like, there's the same song number. There's a lot of throwbacks. Like, they really followed the mold.
Let's do the same thing again.
Yeah, but I don't know, I find that it's just a lot of fun, and it's like kind of a darker, like I said, it's like a Halloween movie that's like not too intense for people. And so, like, I just think that it's a good gateway. It's a good gateway into that sort of.
It's a good Halloween movie
right?
good Halloween movie for kids, in that I think by Disney PG-13 standards, they might have been playing with the edge of the line a little bit. Like, it's still a kids movie.
Totally.
It's still a kids movie, but like, let's be Halloween. And Halloween means we can play with the line just a little bit. And I do respect that about the movie.
And I feel like this is very similar to the 80s Muppet jokes, where it's like very layered, right? There's like the jokes that they put in there for the adult, and then the jokes that they put in there for the kid, and both are fun, you know? And I find that this movie has some of that similar humor, where there's just stuff that's went totally over my kid's head, you know? They just don't get why that's funny or whatever, but like, I can still appreciate the humor because I get it on that second level. Yeah, and it's just fun. Like, this is just a movie that we put on, and like, we'll watch it. Like I said, it's October 1st next week. We'll start making our list. And the nice thing about our like annual viewing of it, is like seeing what movies I can start adding onto the list. You know, like they can do Hocus Pocus, they can do Hocus Pocus 2, they can do Addams Family. Like, which one am I now? Then I remember when I could add Beetlejuice onto the list. You know,
slowly turn up the temperature of the horror. We'll work our way towards Poltergeist or something.
You know, or like I'm working on some like Tim Burton movies. Like I feel like that's coming, right? Because they're really getting into that genre. And so I think that was like the kind of first win for me with them. It was one of the first wins that I really, really appreciated. And I just find it's a lot of fun. It's just like, it's not going to make you think too hard. It's not going to make you too scared. And I'm just going to have fun when I watch it, and then it's going to be over, and I'm going to watch something else,
I mean,
you know?
Pretty harmless fun is what was going through my head a few times while I was watching it. I do think that maybe, for me, I surprise myself by how easily triggered I am by bullies. The bratty teenagers that were stealing the Halloween candy, for me, were
shoes.
Yeah, but for me, they were almost more the villain of the movie than the witches were. Like, I found the witches kind of funny and bumbling. Like, Kathy Najimy is always talking out of the side of her mouth like she's Holly Hunter or something. And I like that, what's her name from Sex and the City? Sarah Jessica Parker. She's quote-unquote the dumb blonde witch of the group, I guess. Is like, that's indelicate, but considering that's what she's cast as, she gets a lot of laughs out of her, lines and her sort of bumbling behavior. She feels like she's the lowest status between the three witches. Like, she's the least respected amongst the group, but she's kind of my favorite, which is weird because having a roommate that forced me to watch Sex and the City against my will, I built up a bit of a resentment against that actress. So, I like her fine here. I think all three of the witches are having fun, and the fact that joy is sort of in their performances kind of lets us just relax and go with the flow. But I'm surprised. I'm surprised that it has such a legacy to it. I mean, it could be worse. There are worse movies that they could have selected, but I'm still a little surprised that this one is the one,
Also, the zombie character, Billy, I don't know, he doesn't play a huge role. Do you remember him in this movie?
Yeah.
He comes out of the grave.
Doug Jones.
Long-lost lover or whatever.
Whenever you need someone to play a monster who's super skinny, you hire Doug Jones. That's what he does.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
He comes back so when they were talking about the sequel, like, his character wasn't going to come back, or apparently or something, and there was, like, all of this uproar. They were like, bring him back. It's so important to the story. We need him. And so, like, they brought him back in the sequel, and he's, like, in a big way.
Right.
He actually is, like, very great. So I think, I don't know. I just have fun. I like that my kid is already starting to want to put those movies on, and I'll be sad when they grow out of it, I think.
Right.
They're going to be one of those ones that I'll be sad when we don't watch that movie anymore in Halloween because they're too old for it. But then I'm like, then we can watch The Craft.
Yeah, absolutely. Graduate to The Craft. And do you think that's part of the appeal? I wonder if it's female empowerment. Maybe I didn't identify with it because I don't have enough female in me, but like, I think little girls like the idea of a talking cat. I know that's happens a lot in fantasy, Coraline, and a lot of these things. The girls like that, and maybe not the idea of the witches being scary and evil, but the witches being so powerful. Maybe that being part of the appeal. I don't know.
Well, and even it's Thora who saves the day. Really.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, she's not the helpless little sister. Yeah, I hadn't really actually thought about it from that angle before, but maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much.
In the early 90s, there weren't as many girl power movies for kids.
No.
So maybe that was it. I know I was talking shit about Bette Midler. She's fine in the movie, but I don't know that that's the thing about the movie. I really don't think it's Bette Midler. I think it's the Halloween vibe and the empowering little girls. But I just have to guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like. I could take it or leave it. Like, I'm not one to go on and on about the greatness of Bette Midler, but I do think she does this role well because it's that, like I said, she almost plays it like it's a Broadway musical, like stage play.
Yeah.
You know, with the like over the top of her character.
There's no vanity to it either.
and
She's got these terrible buck teeth, and she's the most awful of the three witches. Like, there's no scene where she warms your heart, or turns out that she has this better person underneath. Like, she's just a wicked witch, and she kind of digs being a wicked witch.
Yeah, but interesting, because I've just recently started watching a new witch, the Agatha All Along series. It's just come out on Disney. And it has, one of the witches is Patti LuPone, who's a very drama stage queen, right? And she plays sort of a very over-the-top. I never made that connection before, until just this moment when we were talking, but there must be something to playing that role that I just really appreciate, that ridiculousness to as well. Like, they're ridiculous.
Well, maybe that's my thing. Maybe the problem with Hocus Pocus isn't Hocus Pocus, but that I was a 15-year-old boy when I saw it instead of a 15-year-old girl. Right?
And I also like all of the confusion that they don't understand about modern day technology.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
they're stumped by a road.
Yes, and the bus comes to stop, and they're like, what? They can't figure it out. Like, I thought they played that really well. Yeah, I enjoy it. I have fun every time. I'll watch it again this month. I don't want to watch it, like, year-round.
Right.
But, like, yeah, we'll watch it.
For me, I file it under harmless fun, but, you know, if I had a little girl that I wanted to show something that I thought would appeal to her, this would definitely jump to the list, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I just hit record. I was just saying, Raylee Perkens, you were about to say this list has been really difficult, right? Because that's what we say every time we meet. How do we possibly rank these movies?
However, the last list was difficult because I didn't want to put any of them into first place, I think. It was like a scramble to the bottom.
Everybody deserves last place, and this one everybody deserves first, huh?
And I kind of have an idea in my head before the podcast where I would rank them, and then often my conversations with you will like kind of like move them around, and now I'm looking at this list and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how I want to land. It's making me a little uncomfortable.
I promise, Raylee, even if we go 0 for 6, I'm not going to be mad at you. I mean, I think through this conversation, we liked these movies, and I'm the one who put us in this position of arbitrarily ranking them. But that's what brings the tension to the podcast. That's what keeps people listening. It keeps my dozens of listeners glued every week. So, what was your least favorite of these? Podcast. That's right. What was your least favorite of these family fantasy movies, and why?
I think, I'm going to put Memoirs at the bottom.
Okay.
I was pleasantly surprised. Like, I really enjoyed it much more than I thought, but I'm less likely to revisit. I think I would actually watch the other ones again, like the Cocoon and Batteries. Like, I might want to sit when I'm feeling or having a sick day at home and just want to feel good movie. I might put them on.
Right.
I don't know if I would reach for Memoirs in the same way. It was good. It was really good. But of this list, it was the one that I'm like less likely to revisit.
Fair enough.
So number 5 is Batteries Not Included. It just wasn't as memorable as the other one for me. It felt a little like kind of two movies, like we were saying, like the first the movie Demolition Capitalist, Awful People, and then the cute bots, and like I wanted which one I wanted sometimes, and so that one is number 5.
Fair enough.
Begrudgingly. I am going to put Ghostbusters at number 4.
Okay.
I really like this movie. I really enjoy it, and I watch it with my kiddo. We really enjoy it. It's one we revisit. It's good. It is what it is. It's a good movie. It did a good job of calling back to the original, and yeah. But I was really struck by Cocoon, so I put it just above it on the list. But it was tough, because this was a tough one for me. Because, yeah, Cocoon just hit me in the feels in a way that I was not expecting it to. I liked the movie. I didn't just, like, watch it for the podcast. Like, I actually was like, wow, this movie has some really important things to say, and like, big things to say, and it really made me think about a lot of things in a way that I did not expect that movie to make me think and feel. Whereas, to me, Ghostbusters is really fun.
Right.
So that was why. But again, I'm like, I don't like this. So I put Hocus Pocus at number 2.
What? I thought it would be number 1, girl.
Because it, as much as I do like it, it is one of my kids' favorite movies. Like, I enjoy watching it with them.
Right.
And, like, it's more about the memory of watching it, traditions of watching it, than the movie itself.
Sure.
Whereas, number 1 is Addams Family, because I also just really enjoy that movie. I enjoyed it as a kid. I enjoy it as an adult. I will watch it without Parker. Like, it is a movie that I just I think is really great. And so, like, those two are so close, but I think, for me, if I were to sit down and watch a kid's Halloween movie, or, like, recommend a kid's Halloween movie, I would recommend Addams Family. And I would say this is one of my favorite kid Halloween movies. Whereas Hocus Pocus is what I would say my kid's favorite Halloween movie. You know what I mean? Just that difference.
No,
but this was tough. That was a tough list.
Well, and you lucked out. Like, your kid was into Hocus Pocus. My kids were into Alvin and the Chipmunks, like the nouveau Alvin and the Chipmunks, which were... They just weren't good. They just weren't good.
Oh, they're terrible.
But you do things. You make sacrifices for your kids. Well, we don't go 6 for 6, but the bottom half of our list is quite similar. I, with no joy, put Memoirs of Invisible Man in 6th place. And for me to put a Carpenter movie in 6th place, that's strange. And I remember liking it quite a bit when it first came out. I think it was quite strong, like, when it was released. I don't think it deserved to bomb quite the way it did, but it now does definitely show its age, and it had really stiff competition. It's just... Memoirs of Invisible Man is not very memorable as far as the canon of John Carpenter, so I agree. I thought that Batteries Not Included was going to be the easy bottom. Like, that was sort of like, well, let's get this one out of the way. It's another 80s fantasy. It totally belongs on the list, but it's stupid, right? It's goofy, right? But it's got some feels to it, and it's got really good acting and character work, and it's got this weird 80s sweet spot vibe to it that's undeniable. Like, maybe you won't want to be charmed by this movie, but I think you will. So, no, it's not going to make the top half of this list, or probably any list, but it's better than it has any business being, and congratulations for that. In fourth place, all the way in fourth place, I put Hocus Pocus, girl. I'm sorry.
No, that's fair.
It's just in line with where I feel in the spectrum of these movies. I think it's professionally made. I think it's well acted. I think, Dora Burke is a really good, girl power little girl for the age, and maybe I didn't understand why it connected, but I recognized that it did, and there are worse movies that could have connected. Like, if you have a precocious little girl in your life, and she hasn't seen Hocus Pocus, maybe this will be a special thing you can share with her this Halloween. So, but it only...
And you want to get her into witchcraft.
That's right. We want to indoctrinate our children into witchcraft at as early an age as possible. So, public service message. But I think things are starting to go off and are lining up. I put Addams Family in third place. Not because I don't think it's a great, fun, wacky movie, but I do think it's the gags and the, sort of the spectacular visual sort of, we like what's dark. What's dark is funny to us. Pain is pleasure, pleasure is pain. And that's the joke of the movie, and it is one joke, right? And it takes precedence over everything, and it works. It's a good joke. But it doesn't have the variety that, some of these other ones do. I'm a big defender of Addams Family, and I think I've come to... I used to think Values was better, I think, when I was younger, but I don't think that anymore. I think Addams Family is the way to go. But third place on a list of this quality is not, I don't think, anything to be ashamed of. I made Ghostbusters Afterlife in second place.
Wow.
Surprising. It's a legacy sequel, but I feel like they really put their heart into it. The son of the original director came back. They really wanted to pay honor to Harold Ramis. And whether or not it was sincere coming from Bill Murray, it doesn't matter. It felt sincere in the movie. It's closer to the sort of spiritual energy of the original movie than maybe the previous Ghostbusters movie had been with the female cast. But I didn't feel disrespected, and it was a good launch pad. I haven't seen the next Ice Age Ghostbusters movie yet. I don't know where they go from here, but they gave themselves room to show the Ghostbusters to a new generation. So they were very successful in what they set out to do. Plus, I will die for podcast. Cocoon rocked me. I don't know. I think maybe because I wasn't...
I'm so shocked at this.
I know.
I agree. I see why, but to put it at number one, that's shocking to me.
Well, and I would never have predicted it going in. I remember liking it as a child. I remembered that the kid from the Neverending Story was in it, and I had a good memory in my head, a good vibe in my head about it. So I thought this will be fun to revisit. And then I was sitting upstairs at 3 in the morning because I'm nocturnal, as you know. Everybody in the house is asleep, and I am crying. I am just a mess. So yes, Cocoon had to be number one. Cocoon was my number one, mainly for the reason that it hit me emotionally in a way that I was not expecting. And that doesn't happen to me as often with movies anymore. I don't know if it's because I watch so many for the podcast, or I feel like I'm inured to it, being rocked emotionally, but I was completely shocked at how much this movie got under my skin. And for that emotional reaction, I feel like I have to give it first place. Now, if I was to do this list again in 5 years, maybe the answer would be different, because there is something to be said of the experience of watching the movie, right? But it got me.
Well, and I think just that it was so unexpected. That for me, with that movie, I'm shocked that it's your number one, but I'm shocked that it's as high up on my list as it was.
Well, thank you so much for doing the family fantasy. This has been a very horror-light season of Rank and Review so far. So if we get that other episode done before the end of the season, that's be good, so we can cleanse our palate of all this sweetness.
I was going to say before we sign off that there is a new robot movie in theaters this weekend that I'm very excited about.
Yes, everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, I'm a school librarian, and we're actually reading. I bought copies for every single family in the school to read.
Oh, wow.
So like 300 copies, because the book is so good. It's like in the feels, like I get just like tingly. It's just a sweet, lovely, really lovely, sweet.
And what's the movie called?
Book. The Wild Robot.
The Wild Robot, okay.
I'm a little anxious about, like, worried that because the book to me is always better, and like I'm just so worried that they're gonna fuck it up. But so I went out on the weekend or last week, and I was like handing out the books to all of the kids, and they were like so. And then at the end, we're gonna try and get the theater to give us a deal and let us take all the kids to the movie is like our hope.
Well, it better be good then.
So excited. I'm so excited. But I told Parker's like, are we going to go to the theater and see it? I'm like, no, because I will just ugly cry through the whole thing. I just know it. I started crying in the preview. It's just too much for me to see in the theater. We watch that movie at home.
The buzz on that movie is big right now, and it's opening against Megalopolis, so I think it's going to cream Megalopolis.
So, anyway, if you want a sweet, schmaltzy robot movie, Wild Robot. We'll see if it's any good.
I'll get around to it. I don't know if I don't get out to the theater so often because of my nocturnal lifestyle, but I'll put it on the list, girl, I promise.
All right, well, I'll get working on the next list, and I will see you next time.
Thank you so much. And we may or may not be talking about Cocaine Bear in the future, so everybody look forward to that.
We are talking about Cocaine Bear, and I am here for it.
Thanks, Raylee.
I'll talk to you later.
And so the 256th episode of Rank and Review hits the rearview mirror. What did you think about that? How did we deal with this fantasy collection? Are you missing the horror? Please send your feedback to ranknreview@gmail.com. That's ranknreview@gmail.com. The website is ranknreview.ca. I, as always, am your host and random Canadian, Larry Parsons, and I really do appreciate your ears. Please tell that other movie lover in your life about the Rank and Review podcast. And I'll be dropping every other Wednesday until we hit episode 275. Thank you.